This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Mark Martin. We begin with the latest in the coronavirus pandemic. Our nation is now mourning more COVID-19 deaths than any other country in the world. More than 150,000 Americans have died. Over the last 2 days, Arkansas, Montana, Oregon, Florida, and Texas all reported a record number of deaths. More young people are testing positive across the country. In Connecticut, a 77% increase in cases, with 40% of those under 30 years old. A new study by the Association of American Medical Colleges says the death toll could reach into the hundreds of thousands if we don't act fast and change course.
We are the global hotspot, and we have mismanaged this virus in a way that I think much of the world simply can't believe.
The coronavirus lockdowns took a heavy toll on the economy in the second quarter. The government's first estimate today shows the economy contracted by a record 32.9% from April through June. That's by far the worst on record for a single quarter, and the damage isn't over yet, as another 1.4 million Americans filed new jobless claims in the last week. Today's numbers come as lawmakers here in Washington are struggling to come up with another stimulus plan to help unemployed Americans. And the Federal Reserve announces its latest move to help the economy. Jenna Browder reports.
The latest numbers come after Fed Chair Jerome Powell's announcement the virus is putting a drag on the economy. And for now, that means continued low interest rates and debt buyback.
The path forward for the economy is extraordinarily uncertain and will depend in large part on our success in keeping the virus in check.
That, and he says, finding a successful treatment or vaccine.
Indeed, we have seen some signs in recent weeks that the increase in virus cases and the renewed measures to control it are starting to weigh on economic activity.
This as Democrats and Republicans struggle to reach an agreement over another stimulus plan. At the heart of the issue is a $600 a week unemployment benefit set to expire in just a few days. That's $600 plus normal unemployment benefits. Democrats want to keep the program going. Republicans would like to cut it back. Economist Stephen Moore Wednesday on CBN's Faith Nation.
Do you think we'll see a relief deal from lawmakers to expand that aid?
Well, that aid has had a lot of harmful effects. I estimate we'd probably have about 1 or 2 million more Americans working today were it not for the fact that unemployed workers are getting, in some cases, twice as much money for not working as working. I mean, that's not just bad economic policy. It's just not fair to the people in this country who are working to have somebody next door, getting more money who's staying at home sitting on the couch.
One encouraging sign, the company Eastman Kodak has been given a major grant to begin helping manufacture pharmaceuticals. Meanwhile, the economy taking center stage on the election campaign. In Midland, Texas, the heart of American energy production, President Trump blasted Democrats and his opponent Joe Biden for their green energy plan.
Their platform calls for mandating zero carbon emissions from power plants by 2035. In other words, no drilling, no fracking, no coal, no shale, no gas, no oil. Otherwise, they've been very good to the industry, I think.
Biden also taking a swing at the president over the economy.
He's shown that he can't beat the pandemic and keep you safe. He can't turn the economy around and get America back to work.
The Fed and others like Steve Moore agree the economy won't make a full recovery until we have the upper hand on a successful virus treatment or vaccine.
The solution at this point probably is not with the Fed. As they said today, the most important thing is to get the caseloads down and the deaths down from coronavirus.
And health officials say they're optimistic we'll see a vaccine by the end of 2020. Right now, 24 vaccines are in the human testing phase. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
In other news, Tropical Storm Isaias is on track to hit Florida this weekend. The storm carrying 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds and bringing heavy rains and flooding to Puerto Rico. It's expected to make landfall over the Dominican Republic later today, bringing 3 to 6 inches of rain. The storm expected to reach Florida by Saturday and move up the East Coast later in the week. Joining us now is Chief Forecaster from weatherbell.com, Joe Bastardi. Joe, thanks for joining us as always.
Yeah, I was here last week for Hannah and even if you remember, it said, hey, a week from now, we may be doing this again, but the southeastern United States. Our forecast is for this to become a hurricane, but probably stay just east of Florida. You've got to understand with that Florida coast, unless you're hitting south of West Palm Beach, let's say from West Palm Beach to Key West, it's very tough to drive a storm in coming from the southeast. You saw what happened with Matthew, for instance, stayed offshore. And that's because of the way the coastline is shaped. If there is a weak steering current, the hurricane wants to stay out over the water. However, the Carolinas jut out. And the fear we have here at Weatherbell is that by the time this reaches the North Carolina, South Carolina coast, it's a Category 2 hurricane. And our track is actually very, very close to you, Mark, come Monday. So that's something to consider. And then it'll continue moving on up into Long Island. A classic swath. And for those of you who followed us on Weatherbell and occasionally may look at my Twitter, as much as that's hard to bear, you notice from April we put on that chart of where we expected the activity to occur. And so far, that's exactly what's happening. This is coming. This is the first, well, Hannah was, but this is the second Atlantic wave coming off Africa. The other ones all developed in non-traditional methods. But this particular feature is a classic system coming across that we see coming. They develop late. And the later they develop, folks, the better the chance for them to hit the United States because they don't recurve early. And by the way, there's another feature out there that in about 6 or 7 days may also try to threaten the eastern seaboard. But I think when push comes to shove, that'll recurve to the east down the road.
So what are the chances of Isaias turning into a hurricane?
I think they're very good. We actually, I took the track this morning. I like the Hurricane Center track. And, when you read their discussions, these are brilliant people down in Miami, you understand that track is a compromise of all the tracks. And the intensity says, well, what if it's over land? It's going to be weaker. But if it actually follows that track, and I believe it's going to stay out over the water, I think it's going to become a hurricane. And so, if you say yes or no, I like to make a forecast. I think it's a yes, and it may be a hurricane by Saturday when it's going very, very close to Nassau. We've had a client for quite a Nassau Port is one of our clients, and we talk with them and talk with the Bahamian Weather Service as to coordinate some of the stuff so they could get extra guidance. So I think that area, the Bahamas, is coming right through the stepping stones, as we call them. And then after that, east of Florida, and then up. Now, look, this is not etched in stone. We all know that only God knows tomorrow, all right? And humility is something that the weather teaches you real quick. So I could be wrong about this, so stay tuned.
All right. How can people prepare, Joe, especially with COVID-19 restrictions?
Well, I don't comment on the whole COVID thing because you can get yourself in trouble with that. But regular preparation, if you remember what Irene was like around here, that may be something to think about. Okay, so that was back in 2011 when Irene came across. It actually passed a little bit east of us. This may be very similar. Landfall on the North Carolina coast and then on up across. I think the rain amounts 4 to 8 inches. If it follows the track, I believe it's going to track. And the wind's going to be crucial because if it passes just west of us and it's still a hurricane, you get that east-southeast wind, jam the water back into the lower Chesapeake Bay. But in general, folks, I mean, the hurricane safety rules, I would just get on the NOAA site and follow them. I mean, these people, FEMA and NOAA, they know what they're doing. All right. Joe Bastardi, Chief Forecaster for weatherbell.com. Thank you, Joe. Okay, thank you for having me. I may see you tomorrow. Yeah, that's possible. In other news, the case of a missing Chinese bishop who has been imprisoned by the Chinese government for decades now has the attention of the U.S. Congress. Bishop James Xu Jumin has spent 40 years of his life in prison for refusing to bow to the Chinese government. Now 88 years old and not seen for many years, there is growing fear that he is dead, and Congress wants answers.
President Xi Jinping, where is Bishop Xu and what have you done to him?
Congressman Chris Smith, who met the bishop many years ago, said the bishop told him he prayed for his persecutors. The bishop's case is seen as emblematic of the millions of Christians who are suffering for their faith in China. And be sure to tune into Faith Nation this evening for more on this story and the latest from our nation's capital. Coming up, how one education expert is hoping to help parents, students, and teachers as they learn to navigate virtual learning amid the COVID-19 pandemic. But before we go to break, here's a look at what's trending on CBNNews.com.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN NewsWatch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
Yes, right on time.
From Superbook.
Pepper's Pizza Palace is donating pizza for everyone today. Wait. I have big plans today.
Trust in God even when times are tough. He has a plan for your life.
Hey, we're gonna be late for the grand opening. My parents want me to help with this outreach thing, feeding the community. What am I supposed to do here? Superbook!
Join the Superbook Club and get Superbook The Birth of Moses, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25.
Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys thrown into the Nile River, and I have a 3-month-old brother.
The Birth of Moses. Yours for a gift of only $25.
What will you do the next time the soldiers come? I do not know, but I trust God has a plan for all of us.
Superbook Club members, free streaming for seasons 1, 2, and 3 is now available.
Welcome back. Thousands of parents of school-age children are waiting on their local school districts to find out just what kind of education will be offered this fall. For working parents, all the unknowns are making it especially tough. I spoke with education coach Candace Duggar, who founded the Reimagine Conference, which is taking place online this week. In light of COVID, what kinds of decisions are you seeing parents make around their children's education? Is there more interest in homeschooling or private schools right now?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we have seen an explosion in the homeschool community nationally, to the point that many districts are finding that their superintendents' offices are being flooded and their systems shutting down by how many families are withdrawing from public education this fall.
For parents who are switching from public school to homeschool for this next year, what's your advice? What should they be doing right now?
Number one, if you're looking to leave public education and come into homeschooling, you're going to want to know your state laws. It's really important that you're in compliance. Even though homeschooling is legal in all 50 states, knowing what your rights are and what the laws are for your area are really important. And so we recommend the Homeschool Legal Defense Team to help with that, along with our conference. And second of all, setting realistic goals for your family this fall. Everyone's journey is going to look different. If you're a working parent and both parents are working outside of the home, setting up a realistic schedule, outsourcing classes for your family, maybe bringing in a tutor or some additional help, creating a mini pod or micropod might help you set up a plan that makes your family a full success for this upcoming school year.
Candace, your conference has traditionally helped homeschool parents, but you're also reaching out to working parents who are overseeing their children's public school education online. What are your tips for them?
Well, as a working mom myself, I've had my children in public school, private school, and now I homeschool them. My husband and I both work full time. And some of the biggest tips I can give you is, number one, do not schedule all of your classes online while you guys all need bandwidth. If you're both running Zooms and conferences and your kids are trying to manage distant learning or online, it can be quite a disaster. Number two, even though your kids are in the home, you're going to still need a schedule. You're still going to have a problem. You might not be learning and worried about finding your shoes and your lunch boxes and your backpacks in the morning, but you'll be switching those problems out for where's my computer, where's my charger, I can't find my headphones. So keeping your family organized is something that's going to be really important.
There are a lot of difficulties for parents and kids right now. What would you say, in your view, is the upside of this time? How can parents and kids that are all together at home doing work and school, how can they make the most of their situation during this pandemic?
Take this opportunity as a family to dive deep into what your kids are passionate about. My son was 9 when we brought him home on the spectrum. He's 12 now, and he's a published author. My oldest son could start college really early, and even though they're not children who would have traditionally had those opportunities in public school, when you can bring them home and put systems in place, let them dive deep into the passions. Let them find out now if there's a career or something they're excited about. Take projects as a family. Help learn about things around the world and different cultures. It's a great opportunity to take this year to discover not only your children's passions, but help your family grow closer.
All right, Candace Duggar, education coach. Thank you for your time and your insights, Candace.
Thanks, Mark.
And the Reimagine Education Conference is taking place online this week, and you can watch it at reimagineeducationconference.com this week. And you can also access the content after the conference is over by heading to the website. Still ahead, the growing threat from Iran. It's sending warning signals to the United States about its power in the Middle East. And one analyst warns there's more to come because Iran is developing an alliance with China. We'll have that story right after this.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Nigerian Christians in
Iran are routinely arrested.
Happily, Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Tensions on the rise in the Middle East as Iran's Revolutionary Guard fires a missile this week, hitting a mock aircraft carrier in the Strait of Hormuz. The military test sends a clear message to the United States that the Islamic Republic intends to dominate the flow of oil from the Persian Gulf. Appearing on this week's episode of The Global Lane, retired Brigadier General Robert Spalding says the U.S. can expect more incidents in the region now that the Islamic Republic has allied itself with China.
I think we're going to see more of these as we move deeper into the Cold War with China. Of course, they recently signed last week a strategic agreement with Iran. I assume that they're going to do something similar with Russia and other authoritarian regimes going forward, where the world's resolving into more of a bipolar arrangement where the democracies are all united around the United States. That was evident from the decision the UK made with regard to Huawei, and then the other countries, the authoritarian regimes around China. So I think this is part of a pattern of behavior we're going to see quite a lot in the future.
Well, on that, we've received reports that China has entered into an agreement with Iran to provide $400 billion to the Islamic Republic in exchange for discounted oil concessions and military access to an Iranian island in the Persian Gulf known as Kish Island. What does that mean for the United States, the Middle East, and the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, I think it means a lot for the Chinese because they get discounted oil. And of course, it means a lot for Iran because they get out from under the U.S. sanctions. I think this is going to be an economic, a financial, a science and technology and data war with the authoritarian regimes. You know, Kai-Fu Lee says that China's goal is to be the Saudi Arabia of data. So we're going to see a world much more focused on information systems and data and artificial intelligence than oil was in the 20th century.
Well, then how should the United States respond to the growing alliance between Iran and China?
Well, we're already doing it. We're strengthening our alliances with our allies and partners more in the economic, financial, and informational realm. We already have strong security ties. I think we need to rebuild the industrial base of the United States. We need to secure Americans' data, both companies and individuals, from hacking from China and other authoritarian regimes. And we really need to inspire democracies to begin to grow economically again. We've been so invested in helping China grow, an authoritarian regime that's intent on oppressing its people and suppressing democratic principles abroad. Now we need to really invest in our relationship with democracies. And I think the Secretary of State is really doing that, and it showed with the decision by the UK.
And the diplomatic dispute between the United States and China. Of course, the consulate's closed over Chinese spies in Houston. China expert Gordon Chang compared China to 1930s Japan. He warns about Beijing's dangerous activities against the U.S. military. So your thoughts on that?
Well, I think one of the things we need to keep in mind is what happened at the end of World War II, and that is the creation of nuclear weapons. So nuclear weapons make actual war very, very risky between nation states in the current era. And so China is a nuclear power. The United States is a nuclear power. Neither side wants to see their citizens or their cities destroyed. I think it's going to be much more focused on the economic, financial, science, and technological and informational aspects of competition. That's where the new battlefields of the 21st century are going to be fought on.
Do you have concerns about them influencing the upcoming election, the Chinese hacking in?
Oh, no question. They're already influencing our society. You know, you have Antifa and BLM that are very much Marxist organizations. They may not have the same ideology of the Chinese Communist Party, but they share the same disdain for democracies and free trade. And so we're going to have to instruct and educate the American people on the danger of foreign influence and also inside influence that would have us move away from our principles of democracy and free trade and rule of law and civil liberties and human rights.
So, General, several U.S. military experts have told me that when it comes to China, it doesn't really matter who wins the presidency in November because the Chinese Communist Party is going to continue to influence countries, move into markets, expand its military around the world. Short of war, then what can we do to slow or stop China?
It's really about protecting data. We need to lock down our internet. We need to protect the American people from being hacked, from being influenced through the internet. We need to promote our own industry. We need to promote our own economy, invest in America. We need to stop spending hundreds of billions of dollars in the way that we're spending them in the Department of Defense. We need to focus on a military that can deter conflict while at the same time building up our economic and industrial base and really the science and technology prowess that we enjoyed dominance with during the first Cold War.
Okay, a big task ahead. Hudson Institute Senior Fellow, retired Brigadier General Robert Spaulding. Always good to talk to you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And you can learn more about important trends and issues in the U.S. and the world on the Global Lane. It's tonight at 9:30 Eastern on the CBN News Channel. After the break, the latest from Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson as he continues to share Jesus' truth across America.
Christians around the world are standing with the Israelis. But why? In CBN's free magazine, Friends of Israel, you'll discover why Christians are supporting the Jewish state, how Israel is fulfilling prophecy as a light to the nations, and ways you can pray for the people of Israel. Israel needs the support of friends like you. Call now or go to CBN.com to get your free copy of Friends of Israel.
Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the work of your Spirit, Lord God, with this movement of getting the Bible,
yes,
Lord, into public schools.
Watch The Prayer Link, Tuesday nights at 6:30.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Get Protect Your Sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson is hoping his latest book will shine light on the issues facing America's society and guide people to look to Jesus amid suffering. In his new book, Jesus Politics, Robertson is challenging people to use their time, talents, resources, influence, and votes to protect and advance the policies of King Jesus and, quote, win back the soul of America. The book offers a manifesto showing us how to help bring the kingdom of heaven to our homes, neighborhoods, churches, communities, and country. He says it is a call for action for all Christians who want to see biblical values reinstated in America. Jesus Politics will be available wherever books are sold starting this Tuesday, August 4th, 2020. And Phil Robertson will be sharing more with us next week on August 4th. Be sure to tune into the 700 Club to watch our exclusive interview. Again, that's Tuesday, August 4th, right here on the CBN News Channel. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Glad you stayed tuned. Have a great day.